We got Adrian Yanez back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Davey Grant coming up here at UFC Fight Night, November 20th. Adrian, how's it going, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Really excited. Just a couple weeks away. I already want to be in that cage, man. I really want to be in there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Was this the right amount of time off, or were you trying to get in there a little bit sooner?
And it was kind of like a mixed bag for me because I wanted to get in sooner. I wanted to make it like 4 fights within this year, but man, 3 is good enough for me. Especially a lot of things that have went on, man. I'm glad that I was able to take a little bit of time. So, yeah, no, I'm really excited to get back in there.
Before we talk about your fight, we just had an awesome card on the weekend, UFC 267. I know you're a fan. You watch all the fights. Just first in your division, Petr Yans getting that win over Corey Sandhagen. How impressive was that performance?
Man, that was really super impressive, especially with somebody like Corey Sandhagen, who stylistically wasn't a great matchup for him. Man, to see the adjustments that he made, he not only did he just make like one adjustment, he made like 4 or 5 adjustments in that fight. And to me, that's the scariest thing about Petr Yan is that he's able to adjust and keep adjusting and adjusting. I know he kind of like not he doesn't really throw away the first round, but it's more of like a reading type of what he's gonna do. But man, just seeing like there's the depth and how much the depth in his game is really good, especially when it comes to stand up. And I really like because I really like the hands, I really like boxing and everything. But so just to be able to see the little details that made the biggest differences was really cool to see. So man, that was a really great fight. Corey Sandhagen put on a hell of a fight as well. Got hit with some good shots. Got hit with the spinning back fist that would have put like a lot of people out. So he was able to stand up and get back up and call him in. Right after he got up, he's like, "Nah, I want some more." So, man, super props to both those guys. It was a really great fight. I really loved that fight.
Of course, there was the main event, Glover winning the title at his age, which was incredible. But the other 2 fights I got to mention, Islam Makhachev, that performance on Dan Hooker, outstanding. What did you think? What was your reaction to seeing that victory for Islam?
Man, I was really super impressed. Nobody's been able to do that to Dan Hooker at all. So just to be able to see that, like, there was like it wasn't just like a overhand right or anything like that. It was like he kind of just took him down and just pretty much dismantled him, and that was crazy to see. Like he just dominated from the beginning bell, and I was like, that just made me realize like holy crap, like this guy has a really really good shot at getting that belt and holding it for a while.
And then the last one I got to bring up, Khamzat Chimaev defeating Li Jingliang. The layoff, COVID, didn't matter. He got in and out and got a quick win. Just your thoughts on his performance.
I was really excited for that matchup. I was like, I was jumping up for joy just because like I felt like that was like a good stylistic matchup for both those guys, and then ended up being just a complete one-sided affair. And just seeing like how good his grappling is again and again and again. And man, like he has good boxing, he has good hands. But that takedown, going over to Dana White and talking to Dana White, taking him down, and then also having 3 choke attempts, and just Jin Liang being able to get out of it, getting out of 2, and then Hamza just for getting that on the 3rd attempt, man, was really awesome to see, because it really showed, man, he's not going to give up on that choking. Man, I really loved it. That had me hyped. I was like, holy crap, like the hype train just got a little bit stronger with that fight.
Speaking of hype trains, this is an awesome fight. I guess the only downside to this fight with you and Davey Grant is the fact he's not ranked. Was you a little bit bummed out about that? Because I think you've done more than enough to earn a ranked opponent.
Man, I feel like I have, but also when it comes to David Grant, the ranking to me doesn't even matter, because he's just such a great fighter. He's a really great fighter, like really explosive, like has power in his hands, and has a great jiu-jitsu. So to me, it was just like it didn't really matter if he was ranked or not. He has a good, well-established name in the UFC, and it's like, to me, it's like not my first test, but it's my actual like. Because my debut was against a guy who was also debuting as well. Gustavo, he wasn't like a name like a name in the UFC. Neither was Randy. So like he's been a name, like he's been in the UFC for a while. So that to me was just like more than enough to be like, man, yeah, no, this is a great fight for me. Especially with somebody like Davey, who's just a really good opponent as well. And he goes out there. He was on a 3-fight win streak, like all by knockouts before that loss to Cheeto. And I don't really even consider that loss to Cheeto like bad because he continued to fight the whole entire time, even though I feel like Cheeto 30 beat him like pretty easily, but it was one of those fights that like, hey, like if he had made some adjustments, it could have went the other way. So like I'm really excited for for that fight, especially because Cheeto beat him, he's ranked. Me, if I beat him, man, what does that say about me?
Yeah. No, very, very well said. Training camp, how have things changed? Obviously, you know, the unfortunate news about your coach passing away. Has camp changed at all, or has it been the same? How have you sort of structured things?
Man, it's super weird because my coach was always like we've had the same structure for a very long time. So we've there's literally nothing has been changed. Uh the only thing is that I haven't getting as much like because every once in a while like on a Monday Wednesday morning I would get a little bit of technique and he'll be able to hold mitts for me and all that stuff, but we've had like a good group of fighters that would come in, so he wouldn't be able to like always just be able to like, hey, you need to do this or this. So it was like always kind of broad stroke type of stuff. So nothing has really even changed. The only thing that's changed is that he's not there, but he gave us the work and he showed us how to do everything because and he was already like kind of like on the outs of like, hey, like you know, in a couple of years he's gonna take the step back and he's gonna let me and my training partner Cameron run it, and he's told me that from like the very beginning. Whenever I actually, because I was an amateur. Once I turned pro, I had actually started working for him, like being an assistant coach and everything. And he was showing me the ropes and how to train fighters, how to deal with a lot of this stuff. So it's almost like he's there, but also like it's nothing has really changed. So just seeing like the little just being able to like put my coach hat on at sometimes is kind of cool, and I see myself doing a lot of things that he did. So it's cool. It's kind of like, oh man, yeah, we should be doing this again. Like we should be going back to like how we did it in the very beginning. So it's like, oh, it's cool. It's 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 cool, but at the same time, like it does suck at times. Cause I'm I at the beginning of this training camp, I had found myself kind of being like, man, like shit, like this sucks. But at the same time, like it was more like, no, this is the system that we had, and the system that we had works, and it got me here. So let's keep this going. And luckily, we've been able to get like a good addition to the camp is Raphael Stotts. He's come into the gym and he's been training with us and everything. So he's a mainstay now. So I've been getting a lot of work in with him. He's been helping me with my wrestling. We've been helping him with the striking. So it's like, man, we've been getting the best of both worlds right now.
Yeah, I did notice that. And Raphael's one of those guys. I mean, his positivity is so contagious. I could just see you guys getting along so well just because of both your personalities. And obviously, Raphael's an outstanding fighter in Bellator.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. He's actually like we have a good group in the morning, and he's just one of those guys that's like he's consistent. He's been showing up, and he's also like a really good guy as well. Because I remember there was just one day like one day nobody really kind of showed up in the afternoon, so I had like 3 training partners that I was consistently going with, and I was like, man, I didn't have enough bodies today, and he was like, and I didn't even say like, hey, come help me out. He just showed up. He just showed up at those sessions, man, because I knew like when he first got here, he was going in through the whole moving process and everything, and me just even just saying like something small like, hey, man, this day like only like a couple fighters showed up, and he was like, oh, all right, yeah, we talked about it a little bit, and he just showed up. I didn't ask him to do any of this stuff, so it was pretty cool, man. He's a really cool guy, and like whenever it's his turn and I don't have a fight coming up, I'm coming in for him and helping him out with his training camp. So it's even though I'm gonna have to because I'm coach, but yeah, I'm like yeah, he went out his way to do stuff for me, so like without even asking. So a really cool guy, and like it's pretty cool because him, and my other training partner Cameron, like kind of building this little strong bond. So it's pretty cool.
Who will be in your corner for this fight?
It's gonna be my training partner Cameron. Pretty much like I trust his mind. I trust his I trust because we both break down fights and we both like to look at fights all the time. So he has a pretty good eye for fighting, you know, and he knows how I fight. He knows like we're almost pretty like similar in the same ways. So he knows that he doesn't have to motivate me or anything like that. So he's just like, all right, cool. I just got to break down technique for you. I was like, all right, that's exactly what I want. I was like, I don't need to be motivated to do any of this because I'm already motivated. But I was like, just give me the technique. And after that, I have my training partner, also Leah Monabian in my corner, and my brother Andres. You know, so with my brother AJ and my training partner Leo, and then Cam, that's all I need right now.
How's this fight playing out on November 20th?
And it's gonna be a beautiful war. It's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful war, and I'm super excited. I do believe I finish him in the second round, but at the same time, Davey Grant is super tough. But man, I'm telling you, I think it's a second round knockout.
You mentioned it there, Davey Grant, pretty known opponent, not a ranked opponent. I'm sure rank's got to be next, but do you like the level of activity you're doing? It seems like you're fighting pretty frequently, not too many gaps. You kind of liking the schedule you've been on?
Yeah, I have been. I actually really have been loving the schedule that I've been on. It's one of those where I don't get the chance to be too out of shape. I get to stay in shape. So it to me, I'm really loving it. Even though I really never stop training, I'm like almost in the gym almost every single day. So I never get out of shape.
Yeah.
But I do love the activity. The activity has been great, especially like if you want more money in the UFC, you got to keep fighting. So that's exactly what I'm gonna keep on doing. Especially now, you know, I got the family coming, so I'm super excited, man. Just ready for a lot of things. You know, ready to keep on fighting, man. I'm ready to change my life.
Love it. How many more fights do you have left on your contract? Do you know?
So I just signed a second contract. Whenever I signed to fight Davey, I got a new contract in my UFC contract. So this is my second contract, new 4-fight deal.
Congrats, man. That's got to feel good, right? I mean, it's pretty much known you were going to get re-signed with your fight style and you're winning all these fights, but how much better do you feel now? You got the extra 4 fights. I know they can cut you at any time, but still, you got to feel good about that going into this fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It felt really good because man, like I've been kind of really harping on this for a very long time. I never wanted to be the guy that just got into the UFC and just to be able to say they got into the UFC. I wanted to be in the UFC and be like, no, I made it to the top of the UFC. Like I want to be here for a very long time. Like I want to be here for like the rest of my career. You know, I want to end my career in the UFC. That's where I want to be at. So I was never like getting into my second contract kind of just solidified it for me that like I'm pretty close to my goal. Like I'm getting closer and closer to my goals, and you know, seeing it, and then also the extra pay bump is great. Being able to get out my first contract to fight earlier was really good, and really makes me happy to believe that the UFC even believes in me that much to cut cut me off one fight out of my contract, sign me into another 4-fight deal. So it's looking positive everywhere I look and everywhere that I'm seeing it. You know, so I'm loving this a lot.
I'm always loving these interviews, Adrian. Thanks so much for the time, man. We're looking forward to it. UFC Fight Night, November 20th. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Oh man, thank you so much for the platform. I love it. Every single time I come on here, I'm having a fun time. Big shout out, big shout out to my coach Salsa Lease. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. It's been tough. Also, man, just big shout out to all my training partners who stayed consistent. Man, they believed in me and everything, you know, and my management team, Ridium, Jason, Ed Cap, Jacob Parga, Jason House, all those guys, Lance and all them, they do a really good job. Jeremy, I'm missing a couple, but they all do wonderful things for me, man. And I love it, man.